Visken med hur den jag spelade the Stainpokes podcast. She Rune Wilson and Hannah agus Shaw. Fat boy Hannah. How's it going, old boy?
I'm hi there, guys. Welcome to the Stainpokes podcast. That's Raymond and I'm Dean. I think that's what he was trying to tell us.
Stainpokes podcast was in English.
Well, Scottish. Come knocking.
Beer Lagella, or whatever you want to call it, Albish, whatever different linguistic terminology you've got for using it. Listen to me, kid, knowing I'm clever.
You just keep using things that I've not a clue what you're talking about. So, hi there, guys. Welcome to a Stainpokes podcast. So this week we're going to talk about WrestleMania 37 because, well, it was at this point now when you are watching this 2 weeks ago.
I was going to say we're a couple of days after WrestleMania while we're recording, but it'll be a week or so, maybe 10 days after when it goes live.
Right, so we're a wee bit late, but we're going to give our views on WrestleMania just because the 2 weeks ago podcast we gave our predictions, so we might as well one, see if we were right, and two, have a talk about it and see what we thought about it. So overall, Ray, what was your overall thoughts of WrestleMania this year?
See, I didn't watch it live this year. I might usually try and watch it live and stuff, but I just fucking it got late on, and I'm starting to think, no, I'm getting too tired for this. I'm just going to my bed. I can watch it whenever I feel like. But went back and watched it, I thought night one was actually really good, so I did. Personally, a bit gutted with the WWE Championship matches. I'm sure every fella in Scotland is gutted with it.
I told you. I called it.
I think they've definitely played it so that they can continue that story. I think that's going to lead on to a rematch at Backlash.
Mm-hmm.
Where I reckon Bobby might actually keep a hold at Backlash. And I reckon it'll go to being like a steel cage or a Hell in a Cell at Extreme Rules.
Right, to keep Bobby to keep
MVP or anybody else interfering in it.
Well, I've watched Raw, so I came. It's got the Monday night after Raw. It was one of the worst Raws after Mania I've ever seen. And
my plans to watch it tomorrow.
Well, a wee spoiler for you: Retribution, the two big members of Retribution, Mace and Dijakovic. I can't remember Dijakovic's Retribution name. The two big fellas in Retribution. They come out after Raw. After it was a triple threat match between Randy Orton, Braun Strowman, and Drew McIntyre on Raw to see whoever wins go to the championship Backlash. It's called WrestleMania Backlash this year. When it was called Backlash, it's now called WrestleMania Backlash. It's so fucking stupid. But
that's actually kind of part of the reason I thought they're going to continue this, and the main event is going to be Lashley versus McIntyre, and it's going to be MVP causing the upset in that match then because it's called WrestleMania Backlash.
Well, they've got Mason, whatever his name is, the two Retribution guys. Retribution broke up a couple of weeks ago before Mania. They've now joined forces with the Hurt Business. For some reason, it makes no sense storyline wise. If you've been, I've watched it since Retribution came into it. And the Hurt Business, I've been there since day two became a thing, and it makes no sense them teaming up because the Hurt Business.
I can't recognise the names. Like it's only been the last couple of weeks. I've maybe 3-4 weeks.
The Hurt Business was Bobby Lashley, MVP, Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin. And then Retribution was Ali and these other stupid folk on masks, Dijakovic, Mia Yim, a couple other people. I don't actually ken who they actually are. They were on masks and they were like taking over the place. But the Hurt Business, they were both heels, and then the Hurt Business was going to take over. The Hurt Business was going to take care of Retribution, and that's how they got the chance to go. That's how Bobby Lashley got the IC championship or the US championship, and that's how Cedric and Shelton got the tag was because they took out Retribution. But Retribution finally broke up, and we thought, great, they're going to take off their mask. We're going to actually get these characters be the person. Because the guy Dijakovic and NXT had some really, really fucking great matches with Keith Lee, like some really good matches with Keith Lee. And then he'd come up to the main roster and put a stupid mask on and was called something silly. It's like Slapjack, Mace, the woman, Mia Yim, her name was Reckoning. Like, it was just really stupid names, and it just the gimmick fell flat in its fucking ass. The day
Mate, you talk about stupid names as all you want. Nothing on this planet will beat Isaac Yankum.
They're all names after weapons.
Aye.
Because it's cool.
And Isaac Yankum was named after a dentist.
Aye, but he was. But look at AEW. They've got a dentist who wrestles.
Right.
I can't remember.
And Jacobs did it first.
Aye, but he wasn't an actual dentist. He's an actual qualified dentist. Britt Baker. She's an actual 100%. She's called Britt Baker P whatever you call a dentist.
How do you ken that Randy Orton isn't in fact a dentist in his spare time?
Do you not mean Kane?
Wait, I'm just thinking any wrestler on the planet.
Kane
could be.
But
Kane could be.
You know, Yankov, whatever his name was played by Kane.
Aye, Isaac Yankum was played by Glenn Jacobs, but you're saying about AEW actually having a dentist. Well, who's to say that maybe Braun Strowman or Randy Orton or Sasha Banks even isn't he a dentist? They could have been qualified dental nurses or dental hygienists before they went to WWE.
But they're no.
I know for a fact.
Yeah. We
ken them. We already ken these folk stories, but there's maybe a wrestler out there that we don't ken their story.
Aye, at this moment, but they come out because
take the wee mad Asian guy for The Hangover. He's a doctor.
Aye.
He was a doctor before he done fucking stand up. Ken Jong. Is that his name? I couldn't think of his name off the top of my head there. I couldn't even think of the character name. I had to stop myself.
It always annoys me because everybody always mentions The Hangover when they talk about him, but he's so much better. You ever seen Community? See the meme that goes about where he's shouting "gay." That's what it's fake. It's fake Community. So it's about our American college. And it's really fantastic.
I to be fair, talking about Ken Johns, fuck all to do with wrestling.
Aye, we've went off topic, yeah. So let's just dive into the WrestleMania card because if we don't, we'll be here all night. So we'll talk about night one. When we need to talk about night one, we need to talk about the fact that the biggest talking point of the night was the fact that Samoa Joe was in a poncho. And Michael Cole, but Samoa Joe was in a poncho. Now, me and you watched TNA for that many years, and Samoa Joe was the badass motherfucker who took out every cunt. He was the muscle, he was the destroyer, he was basically the Brock Lesnar. He was the hard motherfucker. And there he is standing there in a poncho, and you can tell there's somebody behind the camera slacking the hell out of him because his face tells you how raging he is.
Mate, no, I reckon there's two or three standing behind the camera. One of them being Bobby Roode. No, mate. I'm getting to that.
I would it be.
I'm getting to that one, right? But I reckon Bobby Roode was actually standing behind that cameraman and gearing at the two fingers. Fuck you big walloper with your fucking shitty poncho. Mate, I know for a fact that Bobby Roode isn't Scottish, but he would be using Scottish slang for this bit.
He's Canadian. Close enough.
Oh, mate, he's Canadian, so he probably does have some Twitter slang, so why not? But AJ is standing in the locker room with a fucking monitor watching this bit. He's watching it and he gets the phone out and he starts ripping the hole clean into Samoa Joe in the phone while watching him. See you big bastard. You think you're the fucking hard man. The amount of times you muscle bust at me and fucking TNA. Who luck at you? Fucking that big tooth. I can imagine it be something like that.
Oh,
But that was what I could have expected. The first thing you have said there was AJ would have had a joke about it.
oh,
I reckon Kazarian and Daniels would have been sitting on Tuesday night going, fucking, did you see that big dick? Did you see that fucker talking to the camera with his fucking damn jacket on?
If AEW does not have a reference, like I don't watch AEW, I really should start watching. I keep telling myself I'm going to start watching it one of these days. But if AEW doesn't have a joke or a reference to them and ponchos on the night's Dynamite, I will be highly disappointed.
Oh mate, there's got to be a reference to the ponchos. There is no doubt that Jericho is going to make a reference to the weather.
No, they'll say, oh, there's a hurricane coming through.
Speaking of Dynamite, that was something that I noticed I was going to mention to you, but I thought I'd wait until we were on camera to mention it. NXT's getting moved to Tuesday night.
NXT is already on Tuesday night. It started last night. Then spoiler alert, we're shooting this on the Wednesday, so it's already come out last night. It got moved. So we haven't even spoke about this first match, so let's jump into the first match. So much about pointers.
We already did speak about the first match, but we're disappointed that Drew get beat, and we reckon it's going. I reckon it's going to continue on at least until Extreme Rules.
I was more disappointed in the way it happened. The actual the way you lost. The way you lost, in my opinion, was really stupid.
A submission.
No, the distraction. He got a distraction for MVP outside, and then fell on his face, and then next thing you kind of go, right, fair enough. He still looked strong by getting passed out. Then 2 seconds later, he was wide awake, but it just made no sense.
Nah, I didn't like it. The random shout distraction. I don't think it would have played right, to be fair. And the fact that they ended the opening match on a submission like that.
It was a very downer when you thought it was going to be the big crowning moment, the big happy moment for Drew, and it didn't happen. It was just a very, very dull moment. Probably more because we're Scottish and we were really rooting for Drew to win. But as I said 2 weeks ago in the predictions, I kind of thought it was going to happen. I had that feeling that Drew was going to lose because Bobby's been pretty dominant recently. On the joys of watching, even though it's been really, really, really bad, the joys of watching Raw every week is I got to see that storyline happen. So I understood it. I appreciated it when it happened. I went, okay, I see why Drew lost. I was upset, but I understood. It made sense to me, as much as I didn't want it to. Next up is the tag team turmoil match. Still can't say that. It's too many T's. The one for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match on night 2. This was between a bunch of women, and unfortunately, I called Bailey was going to win this because I thought Bailey was going to get involved, but she didn't. Miller picked did, and your pick did. Natty and Tamina.
Aye.
That's only good thing to talk about. Like, and the fact that Mandy Rose fell on her ass. I'm really funny on Twitter about it later. It was like after it happened, after the match was on Twitter, and she was trending on Twitter. I watched the thing live, so I was sitting on Twitter while it was happening, and she's trending on Twitter and sitting joking about herself on Twitter, which made it even better. The fact she laughed about herself in it, because final.
If you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at?
Like, it was a quick slip and just bounced straight back up and was like, oh, cool. And they just seen that, but the camera was right on it. So the whole world seen it.
Everybody in the dog that was watching it see it. Anybody that watches that again is going to see it.
They played it 5 times on repeat on Monday Night Raw.
Aye.
So if you didn't see it at Mania, you saw it Raw. It was they
Karen
played it.
fucking scene. What else was I going to mention? I was going to say something else about that match there, but it slipped my mind, so obviously it wasn't important.
I popped like mad because I've been watching what culture. Oof. Bad word. I've been watching Cultaholic. What culture? I've been watching Cultaholic and King Ross Twiddle, the guy that does the What Culture moments. He loves Tamina. Like his favourite woman wrestler is Tamina, and he's been losing his mind recently when Tamina's been winning. So I've been following him. He's been calling it a Tamina train because she's an actual licensed license, whatever the word is, train conductor. She can actually drive trains in real life. So Ross is
you're saying fucking AEW having a dentist that works for them is weird. I know you've just admitted that Tamina is a train driver.
An actual a legit train driver. So he's been calling it the Tamina Express, or Tamina train is putting at the station. So I popped like mad when I seen it because it was amazing. She went to put in the sharpshooter. Nati went to put in the sharpshooter and went nah, and tagged in Tamina and let Tamina climb to the top rope, and she did the whole Superfly Jimmy Snooker the murderer pose in the top rope, and then did a dive, and it's the big moment Tamina's needed for ever. She's never had that big WrestleMania moment, and I lost my mind. Like, but at that moment in time, I also knew that match wasn't going to win night 2 because she got a WrestleMania moment. That was her moment. Unless Natty was going to get a moment, but Natty's had a moment, so probably no. Next up is my favourite ones: the King of Swing versus the King of Suits. Unfortunately, didn't wear a suit to the ring because he only does that when he's got in promos, so he didn't get to see one of his cool suits.
I was kind of hoping that we would see a Seth Rollins suit. And in fairness, I did actually have a look, see when Vince came out and done his full welcome back.
Oh.
I did have a wee peruse through the crowd to see if I could see him, and I can't say I did.
I felt more sorry for the wrestlers who won the wrestling on night 1, like Edge and who else was standing out there? I'm trying to think who else. Roman Reigns was in a suit. Who Edge was standing there in his entire wrestling gear. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler standing there in the wrestling gear. On night 1, they got made dress up.
Would have done that on choice.
Just to stand there. The thing that the only one that made sense was Roman Reigns no doing it and Susan to dress in a suit because his character, that made sense for his character, but I just didn't I felt sorry for them.
And see, that's again, I reckon that's a choice thing. I remember working a few shows in air, and there was guys I trained with that they were there to do security, but they showed up with a ring bag with them. So they did just in the off chance, you never know.
Aye, just in case having it, but they got made dress in their gear just on the top of the arm.
I'm not. They didn't necessarily get made. They might have decided, well, here's a wee bit of television time here, man. We can jump in.
They got made. Every single one of them in their gear.
I'm going to argue with that one, mate. I don't think they did. I think
Vince McMahon made them do it.
If that was the case, they would have all been stood there wearing ring gear.
The only one wasn't Roman Reigns. And as I said, that makes sense for his character because his character wouldn't be wearing his ring gear unless he was wrestling because his character's that badass heel. So, but every single rest the rest of them were all in the ring gear. Every single person was in the ring gear. So they've been made dress up in the ring gear even if they won the wrestling the next night. Big E, Apollo Crews, every one of them who was night 2 were all starting on the stage. They shouldn't even have been there. They should have been. Technically, they shouldn't even have been there night 1. They should only been there night 2 with the whole social distance and stuff. But
I suppose, aye.
But let's talk about this match. This is our Seth Rollins match.
See, I'm gutted that he didn't swing him 37 times.
Aye, me too. Especially if I'm saying it. because even if you add up the 9 and the 32, which technically I heard that it's no been 32, it was technically only 19 times because the crowd couldn't rotations right.
Aye, the crowd, they always seem to jump numbers like, I'd say, what, 5/6 of a turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1, 2, 3. He's only actually went round 5 times when they're saying it's 7 times and stuff. So,
So there's like a wee miscalculation, but it's meant to have been still a record for the guy. It's meant to have been like that's still a big record. He's never managed to swing somebody that many times ever. So it's still a personal best meant to be.
but
no,
definitely. I'm going to be honest though, that was the only thing I can really remember for that match.
Aye, it wasn't a very memorable match. Just the outcome and saying the big swing.
I was definitely chuffed that Cesaro won it.
Aye, that his first singles match at WrestleMania.
Aye.
Not his first singles match at WrestleMania. He wrestled last year against Drew Gulak in the pre-show.
First sort of main card singles match then.
They never stated that. They always said it was his first singles WrestleMania match.
Specify that, but it'll be the first televised one.
Mm-hmm. No, they didn't. They always said
the pre-shows.
But when they did that, remember he won the armbar, and he was in the armbar for like 3 years straight, and they were cutting the armbar, and the armbar was bar 1 year was on the pre-show, and they were cutting the armbar. So if they couldn't the armbar, they would have to couldn't the Andre Giant Battle Royal. He won the second year of that, and that was the pre-show, and it was on it the year before that. It was the main show, and then it was on the year after it, and it was in pre-show again. So if they couldn't that, they would have to.
That's not a singles match, though. That's a battle royal.
Exactly. So they were saying that he's never been in a singles match, so therefore they were counting that as a match. Because they were scoring out the promo, scored out all the WrestleManias that he'd been at in the years he'd been there, and they were all he hadn't done yet. But he had the singles match the year before. But
it's maybe the way they're counting it is the fact that it's been Cesaro's first singles match at WrestleMania in front of an audience. Maybe
I was just trying to forget last year happened. No, we just forget it happened. It didn't happen last year. There was no crowds. We forget it happened.
If there wasn't a crowd there, did it really happen?
Now, my favourite match, but my favourite moment from WrestleMania happened in this next match. And you know why. This is AJ Styles and almost.
Was it by any chance the phenomenal forearm?
No, because I hate it. I despise the phenomenal forearm. It was literally just because he won. And he got his Grand Slam. That's all the reason.
I thought I had another moment in mind there. It was AJ's entrance. When AJ nearly fell.
So he did, I forgot. AJ nearly fell.
AJ nearly fell, and you could totally tell that he turned around, locked up at that big cut, and goes, "It's so fucking slippy down here."
I forgot for that.
You can tell that that's what AJ said there. I don't care what anybody says.
I forgot about that, but that's exactly what he said.
Almost didn't have a clue what he said. He's like, "What? I can't hear you. I'm way up here."
Way up here. I know.
AJ's even the weirdest of guys.
I don't even you say the spot was cool, the phenomenal forearm off it almost his shoulders, because it meant he jumped off he springboarded himself up through the ropes onto almost his shoulders, and then half almost onto and it was David Woods which took the bump. It was cool, but I don't like the phenomenal forearm. I do not rate it. I watched it was AJ v RVD when RVD won the championship when Hogan came on TNA. I watched that match like the same week as WrestleMania, and AJ Styles did the phenomenal forearm, and it wasn't even called that. It was God the fuck, it was called something stupid. It was just called like a flip in. And he did it about 4 or 5 times in that match because that was just a normal move. It was just a thing he done. And then his finisher was the Styles Clash.
It was just a standard spot in TNA, but no, it's a finisher.
People can't kick out it. It like finishes people off. It makes me the Styles Class made more sense because that looked fair. You were getting strapped onto your face and onto your body. Maybe that's why it's been took off because it's too dangerous. Because it doesn't do it very often. Only does it with certain wrestlers. I've noticed.
Possibly that could be a reason behind it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I actually quite like the finish when AJ stood on the apron and he just shouted at the top of his lungs, 1 foot, and Amasi's talking about this fucking big tree of a man.
No, the funny bit was this week's Raw. Who was it? Who did they come out to talk to? The New Day come out and was slagging somebody off. Who was slagging off? I can't even think of who it had been. I'm looking down the cards and there's no that makes sense. Because they were slagging off somebody, unless it was the Miz and Morrison. Because they were slagging off somebody for they were constantly slagging them off for getting bet up for one big man. One big man bet him up. Just that's one big man, and that was it. Just a one big man bet him up, and it was all subtle, proper subtle humour to the fact that it was obviously the same thing happened to them. I think it was Miz and Morrison, but it was Miz and Morrison because we were talking about Bad Bunny, and they were like, "Oh, one man bet he's up, one man bet he's up, blah blah blah," and it was all subtle up until obviously Morrison shot the dead cat, as they call it, whatever the saying is, and went, "Oh, right, because that's happened to you." But that was probably the best bit. The only thing is, so Raw after Mania, the New Day, who lost the titles, were on Raw. AJ Styles no more, wasn't
he? See, that is a strange one.
It was a really bad Raw. It was a really bad Mania, Raw after Mania. It was just a really bad Raw after Mania. Again, this isn't a review for this, a review for Mania, but the Raw after it was really bad. It was just a standard Raw. So talking about Raw, going to the next match, which surprisingly was quite good, surprisingly for the build up, is the Braun Strowman Shane McMahon steel cage match.
Mate, I actually really enjoyed that match.
The match was good. The match was actually quite entertaining for what the build up for was, but bar the moment when he's standing in the ring and he's gone. I think it was after the big spot. He's got, "This is what happens when you, for all the people who are called stupid." I shot Braun. You can't talk. The guy shouldn't be able to mic.
Mate, I do agree with that, but it was just some of the fucking spots that they pulled at it.
Right.
I sent you a message when I was watching it saying fucking it was definitely worth waiting for WrestleMania 2 until the now to get another steel cage match at WrestleMania.
The spot him ripping the cage, that was really impressive. See when Edge Reigns horns through the cage, I went, what's going to happen here? How's he even thinking about getting Shane back in?
How's he going to get rid about that? Right. How's he going to get rid about this?
Shane's going to smart him, and then we're going to keep this storyline going. And Shane's going to keep calling him stupid, and the storyline is going. That's what I kept thinking. That was my fear watching this match because I'm watching it a lot. I watch it every week, and I'm like, this storyline is going to keep going, and I'm going to have this. We're going to have to deal with this for at least 9 months. And Shane's going to like pull him and hit him with heat off, and then force a run, something stupid that way. But then he rips his steel cage. I went, oh, no, that's an impressive spot. I wasn't expecting that. Cool. And that's where I go, because at that point I zoned out. I was like, cool, this is the Mania match. I'm just going to stay. I'm just going to watch Twitter and see what Twitter's reactions are. And then when that happened, I went the laptop to the side and started watching it. I went, this is just quite interesting. I want to see what's going to happen. And then he gets him to the top of the ring, top of the cage, and chucks Shane McMahon off the top, which we all wanted. we all wanted a Shane McMahon.
Everybody wanted Shane to get off the cage.
That's what we're expecting. We needed that. If we didn't get that, we were disappointed. That and a coast to coast, and we got both of them. Shane can now retire and go disappear for another 6 months to a year and come back next WrestleMania. It's like he always does.
Next WrestleMania and cost somebody else just because he can.
Aye, some other big idiot who will get probably Roman Reigns when Roman Reigns is a champion because he can.
But do you think they would do that? Keep Shane as far away and
they usually do. Shane only comes up every 6 months, really.
I'm thinking along the lines of bringing Roman into it. Do you think they would do that, take him for being champion this year to fighting Shane next year?
I was saying it as Shane was going for the title, which is a fear. Please no, please no.
Nah, man, I don't see them having a good enough storyline unless by some miracle he come in as a surprise entrant in the Rumble and won.
Aye, but here's hoping no. I'm hoping from no put that in there.
Don't get me wrong, he went for years without even being mentioned in WWE programming, and then he come back and he showed that he could still do it.
Right.
But he's one of the names that is quite clearly right. Dad gives him a phone and says, right, I've got this idea. So, right, how many days do you need me for?
I think it's the opposite. I think he comes up with ideas because Shane, if you watch I've watched a lot of documentaries recently, and Shane's backstage now. Shane's been in the gorilla position a lot recently for all the big events. Shane's been in the gorilla. So I think it's been more Shane's done WrestleMania time. Like what Triple H used to do 3-4 years ago. WrestleMania time. I bet I get a storyline. Keep writers, keep me a storyline. Put me in a month. You've got me for a month, maybe 2 months before WrestleMania. Make a storyline for me. That's what I think happens. It just so happens that's when he always pops up.
I thought it would be like along the kind of lines, but it would be like Shane going away doing his own thing. Like, because I know Shane, that was one of the reasons Shane left in the first place, was because he didn't want to just be known as his dad's boy.
Aye, I went and tried other things.
He started his own businesses and stuff like that. So
aye, he's still got his own, he's still got some businesses and that going, but he is, as I can see, he's still doing a lot of other stuff.
Well, that's why I was thinking it could be one of the kind of things like Shane's got his own business. That's WrestleMania, bye, well, see you later. Me and the wife gone here to go to work. And they're away and they're working away and blah, and it's, say it gets to Christmas time and they're meeting up for Christmas and they're sitting at the Christmas dinner and Vince turns around and goes, Shane, we're thinking of doing a steel cage at WrestleMania this year. Oh, we've not done that. We've not done that since WrestleMania 2. Aye, but we don't know who we could put in it. And it's like, who's the biggest guy you've got?
I'll call him stupid.
Put me in it against the biggest guy you've got.
I'll cover him slime.
That match sells itself. I reckon it's if Vince makes that phone call and says, right, Shane, we've got an idea.
Aye.
And Shane writes himself into that idea.
Right, he's that. I've got it.
Right, Dad, I need a fitness challenge. What have you got for me this year? Right, tell you what, man, we're going to put you in a Hell in a Cell with a live piranha.
Can I jump off it? Shane's first question. Can I jump off it?
The piranha or myself?
Both.
So moving on.
My favourite match. This is my favourite match of the night one. This was amazing.
See, I'm not going to lie. I listened to this match. I didn't watch it because I was being a bit fussy at the time, so I was trying to settle him. But for what I could gather, it was actually quite an entertaining match.
The best celebrity performance ever.
I was going to say that, mate. What I had seen all the match, Bad Bunny I reckon Bad Bunny's maybe
Him and Pat
a wee
McAfee.
amateur wrestler that's not been hanging. I reckon Bad Bunny's maybe an indie wrestler that we don't know about.
No, I think he's him and Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee did it in NXT 6 months ago, and Pat McAfee was amazing. Pat McAfee was really good. The two of them have been really, really good, and I think it's because they have a genuine love for wrestling. Like they actually love it. They want to be a wrestler, but it didn't work out for them. They didn't have that. They didn't have the means. Bad Bunny came for somewhere down the indie. Never had training, never had the training, never had just loved it, and then became a rapper, wrote a song about Booker T, and then WWE's like, do you want to have a? And then he's like, cool, PC, getting trained by Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Shawn Waltman, probably because the way he was moving, it's probably Shawn Waltman that trained him. Finally, like all these guys probably trained him, all these great folks, probably showed him how to taste certain things. And then he's because he's got that love and that passion for it, he's learnt it and picked up and actually put in the time and the practice.
See, the only other celebrity appearance that it reminded me of was when they probably don't want me mentioning this name via WWE, but Stardust, when Stephen Amell made his celebrity appearance and he was against Stardust.
Why?
Stephen Amell, I reckon it was the fact that it was because he was so athletically minded. The fact that you see him on Arrow doing the salmon ladder, all legit.
Also,
it's not body double. He does that.
You've seen wrestling fan.
He was on Ninja Warrior, and the fact that he's a massive wrestling fan. So if he knows how to do all that movement, it's all parkour. It's the same as what John Morrison does.
He's shooting he's doing a new TV show now, and CM Punk's a part of it. No in the show. He's informant. No, informant. That's not the word. Can't remember the word.
Consultant.
Consultant. That's the word. Consultant. He's a consultant for it. At the same time, it was the same time as Royal Rumble, and he said he was isolating for something. He was posting up pictures on Instagram of isolating. Everybody thought he was going to be at the Rumble, and it wasn't. He was shooting that show for Stephen Amell. But so that's why I think if WWE,
I thought Stephen Amell put on the field.
I completely agree with you. And Mickey Rourke again. No, but his wasn't really because he had a love for it. He understood it because he just done his research for his TV show, his movie, The Wrestler.
He understood it because he done the research for The Wrestler. He understood it because he had the boxing background as well.
So he had that, but even then,
those are two different industries, but at the same time, it's sports. It's still sports entertainment at the same time.
Butterbean was shite. Fucking the other guy for tough enough. That wasn't Butterbean. Who was the other one? Who was the one? Mr. T fought.
Mr. T.
No, Mr. T. Roddy Piper. I can't remember now, but there was two boxers come into it, and they weren't that good. Butterbean and somebody else, and then there was one that fought Mike, the wee one, that fought Big Show. He was all right. Mayweather was all right because he, as he said, that's sporting, but he wasn't. He didn't have the entertainment.
See,
he couldn't do the moves. He could only punch. Whereas Bad Bunny done a Canadian Destroyer. For fuck's sake, a Canadian Destroyer is one of the wrestlers say it's one of the hardest moves to fucking do. Peter Williams was back on the same night. Peter Williams made his comeback on TNA. Peter Williams, the guy that made the Canadian Destroyer, the guy that made the move on the same night, made his return to TNA. Remember Peter Williams? Remember watching Peter Williams?
Very, very vaguely, the name does ring a bell, but I can't remember seeing him.
When that was as soon as I see his face, you go fucking aye. He was a painting TNA when we were in it. I think he was a painting World Elite because he's Canadian.
More than likely.
So I think he was a painting World Elite. Yeah, but he was the guy that made the Canadian Destroyer. It was pretty funny. The same. It was Hardcore Justice. TNA had this weekend. and he was throwing it at the same night as Bad Bunny did his move, which was, I couldn't believe it when I seen it. I actually put it back. Watching it live, I went, what did I do? What did I do? Blink and miss sort of thing. Like, because 1 minute it was holding John Morrison up, next minute it was John Morrison on the ground. I blinked, so I had to put it back to rewatch it, and then put it back a third time so I could see it a third time because I couldn't believe what I seen. Even though I knew I was watching WWE and I knew they would replay it 5 times, I still had to rewatch it because it was insane. I couldn't believe what spot I watched. It was just wow. The fact they picked up the win too made it even better.
Mate, as you said, it was definitely the fucking. It's the celebrity appearances, I think.
Aye. I don't know. I can't decide between that and Pat McAfee. When him beat Adam Cole on NXT was really good too. It was same bar, same level. But Pat McAfee didn't do a Canadian Destroyer. that Canadian Destroyer makes it all for me. Last up for night one is the very first women's history making match. It was the first ever women's single match and first women's black women's singles match. Cool history.
That's the two first in histories, and I pointed out just before we started recording. I'm pretty sure it is the longest women's match to be held at WrestleMania.
Still, as I said before we're recording, it's what the looking at it here. It's the second longest match. The Bobby Lashley match was longer than it that night, and it not one match hot at 20 minutes. And night
only one match over the 2 nights had 20 minutes,
which is insane.
It was night 2.
As I was saying, I was complaining about before we started. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly had a 40-minute match on Takeover 2 nights before this. Like, fair enough, the EU breaking up, that's a big story to tell. That story ain't finished because obviously it's TNA, it's NXT. Unless Adam Cole pops up in Raw, pops up in SmackDown this week. Hopefully it's SmackDown because no Raw. Then it'll be then it is the end of it. But not one. Half these matches, some of these matches only went for like 10 minutes. You could watch half a Mania night 1 in the same time it would take you to watch Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly. I know I'd prefer to watch. I'd prefer to watch the Kyle O'Reilly match. It was better than half of this anyway. But it's insane that Mania they split into 2 nights to make it an easier watch, so it doesn't go on as long. But the matches could be longer. Whereas a couple of years ago we were complaining about matches going on last year. Edge and Randy Orton. Last year's match, the last man standing match, it was 45 minutes long. And people complained about it being 45 minutes long. Folks said it could have went for half an hour. Not one match went for half an hour this year. I haven't heard anybody complain about it. I think I'm the only one actually complaining about the fact that it went. I felt it went too short. I wanted a longer Mania.
I felt it went too quick. I felt watching night 2 that when they got to match 5 on night 2, I was thinking to myself, right, there must be at least another 3 or 4 matches to go. Then you check the card and realise that wait, no, there's only 2 left.
Right, just 2 women. The women in the main event.
It went in dead quick. So it went. As we mentioned before we switched the camera, and we're just discussing up a few wee pointers for it. It was 14 matches over 2 nights. 14 matches. It was kind of your standard for WrestleMania for a 1 night show.
Aye, for a 1 night show, you can put that into 1 night, and when you have noticed.
We're going to do the 2 night thing to make it a bit more special. They could have put more matches on.
Aye.
So
just in a few more
and put less promo stuff on. I get they're wanting to promote the music, they're wanting to promote whatever films they've got coming up. They've got to promote the next fucking pay-per-view. They'll chuck in a mention of next year's WrestleMania because they always announce where next year's WrestleMania is going to be.
Even though they've announced it.
Even though it was announced early this year. They want to chuck in a mention of this year's Hall of Fame class.
It's the promos. It's the promos before each match. Especially because I put on like one pre-show expecting a match because there's always at least a 20-minute match, 15-minute, 20-minute match on the pre-show. And there was no match. It was just promo package, talk about the promo package, talk about the promo package, talk about it. Then we went on to the main show, and it was the same promo package they just showed you in the pre-show. So if you watch the pre-show, there was no point. There was no point in watching the pre-show because you were just getting the same promo packages. So it just didn't make sense. Like, what's the point in watching pre-show then?
See, this year that's maybe been because of the weather.
No, it was just. I don't think it was no plan for a pre-show.
I don't think you would have got. I get what you mean. There was no plan for a pre-show, but they maybe done that as a. We'll just start the matches on the main card. We'll do with promo packages for the pre-show, but then it's been like shit. We've got to wait until this rain stops.
And then we got the end of
What we're going to do? Fuck it, run the promo package again until it stops.
No. We're only getting promo package. We got what do we get? We got improv interviews with all the folk about the wrestle. It's pretty funny. Some of them are really shite. Some of them are really good.
I did see a couple of them, but in fairness, see when you tell me about you did give me that one spoiler about the rain delay. So you tell me that there was a delay due to the weather.
I was expecting them to cut it out the rerun. I thought we were only going to get to see that live. If you're watching it live, you're going to get to see that. I'm expecting them to cut that out in the network.
Well, the source that I used to watch it made you watch it.
Right.
So I fast forwarded it, and it was 43 minutes.
Aye.
I think 43 minutes I got to, and I pointed it out to the boys who were sitting next to us while it was on. It's like, there's not any matches yet. I don't know what they were doing, but they weren't actually watching. But they could hear all the talking going on, and it was like, nah, man, it's a rain delay, right? I'll skip this bit. They're showing an advert now for something, so I'll skip it.
Right.
And then that's when you had mentioned earlier on Samoa Joe and his pawn show. And fucking, right, so I'll skip this next bit too. There's another 10 minutes I'll just skip. Fuck's sake. I'm at 35 minutes here, boys. I've still not seen anything remotely close to wrestling.
Like, it was so
funny. Samoa Joe totally hated himself for wearing a poncho.
I also hated himself for wearing that poncho. It was hilarious. So, what was your thoughts on the female match with Bianca and Sasha Banks? That, may I point out, you got wrong. You were certain Sasha Banks was going to win this.
I wanted Sasha to win it, but I'm going to say that it was a well-deserved victory.
I
think Bianca definitely was a better performer.
Before the match, before they began, before their opening lock up with that, her welling up. Oh, I felt it. That was a hard watch. That was a nice. It was really a nice moment. My favourite bit of it though has been, which is going to spoil for night 2. So NXT in Tuesday night there was Raquel Gonzalez was in the ring, the new women's champion for NXT. Standing there in the ring, cutting a promo, yap. And this is my brutality goes, and Rhea Ripley walks out with her championship, or Raw championship. Halfway is Lally, crowd goes nuts. Stuns in the ring, congratulations, they all hug, all happy because they're all pals. And then next you hear is Bianca Belair's music. The loudest pop of the week. Like no pop. I want John Cena Royal Rumble comeback. That level of pop.
Aye.
It was insane. for Bianca Belair. Her music cut and the crowd, look, because at NXT shooting at a crowd, and the crowd went fucking insane. It was nuts. It was I couldn't believe what I was watching. And then she walks out with a title, and they're all embraced and all touch each side with titles because again their pals have come up together.
See, but I'll need to watch them then, because I've not watched any of this week's wrestling. As I said earlier, I only finished watching WrestleMania the day.
I've not watched the NXT. I've just watched. That's only about the NXT I watched because I seen it in the thumbnail, and I was like, oh, I clicked on it, and oh, what a pop! The pop was amazing. But her winning, she needed to win it. Not the whip. You seen the 40s, the Sasha Banks' side?
Nah.
Oh, she's fucking cut fuck open, big right along here. Big massive,
big welts and stuff across her side.
Big one big long welt for the bullet for the whip, for the hair, off her side, and it's just marked her right along. It's a stutter. An offer welt she's got on her leg, her side. Oh, it looks there. But that was a good match. I'm glad Bianca won it. She deserved to win it. That was a moment she was well deserving. And as I said, her tail winner, the Royal Rumble winner, especially if they're a newcomer, needs to win it. Like I understand Edge no winning, but Edge, it's not going to hurt Edge because it's Edge. But Bianca Belair is a new name.
It's not going to hurt Edge's career, no.
But if Bianca lost, it would have hurt Bianca's career. Same as it hurt Shinsuke Nakamura's, and the same as it hurt Asuka's at that point. It hurts their career for the up and coming star, I believe. If they don't win their match at Mania, if they're winning Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, now we need to go into night 2. I can't do. We need to talk about this match. This was terrible. This was Monday night. This sums up Monday Night Raw. The opening match. The best thing I heard was.
We're not talking about.
This was Monday Night Raw. This match sums up Monday Night Raw. This sums up what Monday Night Raw has been the last month or two. Everything about this match. This was Monday Night Raw. It was that bad. And that silly, spooky bollocks. The opening was really cool. Alexa Bliss coming out in the big
Jack in the Box.
Big Jack in the Box, and the Fiend coming through. That was really cool. I really liked that moment. That was cool as fuck. And then the match ended.
That was probably the only bit I liked about this match, to be fair.
That and Randy Orton and White. Because that was a weird look. I tweeted it. Randy Orton wearing white is strange. I didn't. Randy Orton wearing white. Randy Orton should not wear white. It's something about Randy Orton wearing white. It's just a strange thing.
Mm-hmm. Probably the intro to this match was the only bit I actually liked about it.
Aye.
To be fair.
I've heard a theory though that it's meant to not be Bray Wyatt.
See, I've seen a few things about it being a fake Fiend.
Because he's covered up all his tattoos and he looks skinnier, and if it comes to that, it comes to that. But they never mentioned anything, not one thing on Raw. With Alexa Bliss and we had Bray Wyatt both on it. No, the Fiend, just Bray Wyatt in his front house, and they didn't mention anything. They would be a fake Fiend, so I think it's just fans hoping for more because that was that bad. We'll skip on because it was that bad to the next horrible match. The women's tag match where Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax defeated Natty and Tamina.
See, I'm actually confused. I don't remember seeing this match. I do recall seeing the entrance to it, but I don't really remember much for it.
It was a long match. It was a 40-minute match, to be fair.
14 and a half minutes.
It wasn't a good match. It was all right. I wanted it to. I'm probably saying that because I was super stoked. I thought Tamina was going to win it. As I said, I was on that Tamina train. I was so hoping for her to win it, and she didn't.
I was kind of hoping that Natalia and Tamina were going to win.
The ending to this match annoyed me.
Being Natalia was the only reason I really wanted it to win, because she was put at Heart Foundation.
Well, that's what annoyed me.
Actually, that's a lie. I do recall seeing some of that match then because I can remember seeing Natalia deliver heart attacks.
Do you remember the end? Do you remember how the match ended? No. So the match ended with Nia Jax in the ring, Natty legal, and Nia Jax legal. Natty runs towards Nia Jax. Nia Jax then gets a tag. Referee shouts tag. Natty watches the tag. Trained by the Hart Foundation, trained by the Harts, so she should be a pro wrestler. Not Natalia. She then gets Nia Jax in the gun and puts in the sharpshooter on Nia Jax. They're allowing Shayna Baszler to come in and put the Kuta cart or whatever it's called on her and knock her out, same as we had the night. Like, it wasn't a tap, it was a knockout. She's meant to be this super smart professional wrestler who's trained in the Heart Dungeon, but she can't notice a tag. What happened was right in front of you. And the commentator's like, oh, not Natalia, she didn't notice the tag, she didn't know who the legal woman was. It happened in front of you. The tag was right there. It wasn't like she was distracted. She's seen the tag. It was the most stupid booking decision.
Maybe I should seen the tag and realised, shit, I'm not meant to be facing this way. Fuck.
I think it's meant to be. I think I'm just out because I'm watching. I'm super ready for. I wanted when I'm watching these things.
Pay attention and know what you're looking for.
But it made no sense. Right, that's us. We've finally passed the shite matches. We're actually into the good matches. Every match from out for no one is all good. So we now have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in singles match. This is a really good singles match. I really enjoyed this match. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. What can you say?
See, I expected Kevin to win this.
Kevin did win.
I expected Kevin Owens to win this. I actually expected more interference for Logan Paul.
Aye, they didn't get interfered at once. The pop, the boo that guy got when he was lifting Kevin Owens' hand, raising Kevin Owens' hand at the end of it, and he was getting booed like fuck. The crowd hated him, and then Kevin Owens stunned him, and that pop was almost as big as Kevin Owens, as big as the Bryan pop in NXT. Like that was a big pop. That's the same. It's probably the biggest pop of the night. The Mania nights was the pop of KO actually stunning Logan Paul because he's a dirty scumbag who deserves who shouldn't be on my telly anymore.
Mate, I thought it was quite funny because one of the boys walked by and seen Logan Paul on the screen, and that was his first response was, "What the fuck's Logan Paul doing on the wrestling?" Like, I don't know, bud. It's fucking apparently there's a conspiracy against Sami Zayn. By the way, what the fuck are you swearing at?
Even at 12, we're always going, that makes no sense. Next up is Sheamus.
Don't get me wrong, they both thought it was quite cool the fact that him being a YouTuber, it was a good way of him getting some publicity. But
it's a good way of WWE getting publicity. But
it's a good way of reaching a different demographic through his videos and stuff. But
I didn't want to say this. I didn't want to mention this, but I'll mention it because you're not getting this. So at the same time this was happening, Logan Paul started trending on Twitter.
Aye.
And I thought it was just because Logan Paul's in WWE. The next day, I go on the internet and I come across why Logan Paul was trending on Twitter. Nothing to do with wrestling. It's to do with the fact that a month ago, a woman came out and accused a YouTuber of sexual assault. And then she came out the same night he was on WWE TV and said it was Logan Paul. So that's why he was trending. So it's probably backfired from WWE. So I'll be very surprised if Logan Paul's on WWE, if he's on SmackDown. But saying that, the next match does feature Riddle. So no.
Be surprised if he's on it again, if that's the case.
As I'm saying, the next match features Riddle, who also has the same similar case out against him. So it's WWE. So I don't know. But we're not here to talk about the type of allegations we're here to talk about wrestling. So next match, as I said, is about Sheamus. Is Sheamus dethroning Riddle to become the new US champion?
See, in fairness, that doesn't really surprise me.
I thought
Sheamus-
Riddle was going to keep it because Riddle's the face in this story, and it was just a random match set up like 2 weeks ago, just because Sheamus didn't have anything to do at WrestleMania. It was just a random match made up.
I think it makes sense Sheamus to win it because he was the bigger guy. The way they're going with Matt Riddle, I think they're trying to fucking frame him as a new RVD.
I think they're trying to kill his character.
Speaking of, have you found out where the fuck we get Rob Van Dam rolling papers?
You can buy them according to Ross at Cultaholic, but you can buy them signed for like £200, or you can buy like a single pack of like $3 or something like that. So you can buy them online. I just haven't looked them up. But I think they're just trying to write his character off and wreck his character. Because his character's getting worse and worse.
Continue ripping the cunt out of him until he disappears, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. By just destroy his character. They what they did with the revival before the revival was left. Run his raising it until his contract runs in because they're about to. They a lot of people out there don't like him because of this allegation against him. So I think they can that, so they're making him that annoying character. So some people might like him, and some people a lot of people hate him and be annoyed by him, and that's cool. They don't really care if folk are not ever annoyed by him because they can. Why folk are going to be annoyed by him. I wanted Sheamus to win it. I was happy when Sheamus won it only because I think it was the same. I think it was night. I watched a documentary. Well, I think it was night one, waiting on WrestleMania starting night one. I seen a documentary. And it was a chronicle, one of the chronicle things today, and it was all about Sheamus, Fastlane, fighting Drew, and he was all upset. He was all upset because he thought the match was he thought it was going to be a bigger match. He thought it was going to be a Mania match. He thought his match against Drew was going to be because the storyline made more sense to be a Mania match, and he only got his Fastlane match. And at the end of the thing, he's there with Cesaro, and because I was at ex-bar and their pals, and he just breaks. He's getting Cesaro, him and Cesaro hugging each other, and then next thing you can, Sheamus breaks doing greeting, like proper big crocodile tears, and I just felt for the man. You could feel he felt. I don't know what you could tell. He was just always like he felt. No, I want to say almost burnt out. Like you could tell he was fucked. So him getting this US championships, getting him that obviously going to give him that week buzz, getting that human that buzz.
I think the Drew thing would have hurt Sheamus quite hard because they both came up in the UK scene.
Mm-hmm. That's why he thought it was going to be a big story because they come up together.
I mentioned before, I can remember seeing footage of Sheamus and Drew McIntyre fighting either the Magnum or it might have been the Palace Theatre years and years ago. I've got Graham Mackay, the owner of Premier British Wrestling. No, it's not. He's got British Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I've got him on Facebook, and every now and again he's got all footage for their matches on. Like if Drew's doing really well in a storyline, you'll get 2 or 3 wee matches for Drew when he was maybe a year into his career or 2 years into his career. This is long before he was taken into WWE as the chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
This was back when he was no beard and the ponytail when he was a skinny wee guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and seeing some of the matches, then seeing him fighting in ICW when he returned for being the chosen one, and seeing him going back and fighting in TNA, then moving back to WWE and seeing him building up for there, seeing some of that stuff and thinking, no, that was a wee guy that fucking did the same shit as we used to do. I'm sure Drew used to just sit and do this kind of shit, but there was no camera involved. It was just by him and his pals sitting talking shit about wrestling.
And Probably him and Drew.
For example,
And
the scheme promo that they done recently with Grado.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure. How regularly do you think Drew and Grado sit and just cut the chew the fat about wrestling, man? Two Ayrshire boys involved in wrestling, fair dues, is to two totally different degrees. Drew's a bit more successful than Grado is, if you want to say it that way.
Aye, but if you look at their success, Drew's successful in wrestling, whereas Grado's became a household name in Britain.
Aye, Grado's became a big name
through doing like TV shows, like Scott Squad and his House Down,
stuff like that.
Jesus, my dad even kens his name.
Mm-hmm.
Says it wrong. To be fair, my dad now knows Drew's name because Drew's name's because he's in the paper all the time. And because he's Scottish and he wins the champion. My dad actually wanted me to text him the next day after WrestleMania to find out if Drew won or no. And he was disheartened when he found out Drew hadn't won. My dad hates wrestling with a passion, but was disheartened because Drew didn't win because he's Scottish.
I'm also going to point out another reason your dad like Drew McIntyre is because he shares a name with him.
Aye, but he also doesn't like him because he's a Rangers fan.
I suppose. I bet your dad was proper raging when Drew cut that promo against Chris Sutton.
He's not seen that sort of stuff. My biggest thing about it is the fact they gave Rangers a champ. WWE gave them a personalised championship title.
Aye.
For winning their first ever championship, but Celtic never got one. And we did 9 in a row and went invincible and didn't get a single championship. And it's not like we've not got Celtic fans. That Seamus is a Celtic fan. He used to have he had a Celtic badge on his cut. He used to wear a Celtic badge to the ring when he was in the bar every single week. On TV, but they never sent us championship to Celtic. That annoyed me. That annoyed me. That's only because Drew was a champion.
No, Drew was a champion, and it would be like, I don't know why, but it'd be like probably he's been celebrating with Noam and Balor and stuff like that. In fairness, but what side of the island's Balor for?
I don't know. I can't remember what one Balor is. I think Balor's a Celtic because Becky's Celtic too.
Is he for that side of fucking? Is he for that side?
Angus for the same side as Becky Lynch and that because Becky Lynch is a Celtic. Sheamus is Celtic. And then when we talked to Noam because Noam's in Britain. As far as I can. Noam's fighting in NXT UK nowadays. I'm not too sure.
I wouldn't know. It's been a long time for a third film. Like biggest claim to fame ever is the fact that I used to stand next to Noam's Artie per pints.
The next match here is fucking the Nigerian drum fight that had drums at the side of the ring, but they never used the drum once to fight each other with.
No,
kendo sticks and tables.
Kendo sticks, tables. The gong did get used.
Aye, okay, fair enough. I'll give that.
Somebody attempted to use the gong, but it got knocked out of their hands, if I remember rightly.
Still no spot.
I'm not gonna lie. I had mentioned to you before, Hon. I actually only realised I realised while I was watching this match that I've seen Apollo Crews fight in Air a few years back. It wasn't under the name Apollo Crews, obviously. It was under the name Uha Nation.
It's all gimmick. What he's back to playing nowadays anyway. It's all gimmick.
I'm trying to think who else was at that at that event. I think Chris Masters was the international name at it. So it was, but don't get me wrong, it was definitely the same character. Watching it back and thinking, no, it's definitely the same one. Only difference was his ring attire. He wore trunks when he fought in Air, rather than wearing tights.
It was an alright match. I kind of guessed that he was going to win.
I thought it was like was actually quite gutted to see Apollo winning that, man. I thought Big E, I thought Big E dominated the match until that big fella appeared.
He's been a bit boring on TV. Big E as a champion, he's not done much. Whereas I think giving it to Apollo, and especially now De Ricardo, whatever his name is, whatever his new name is, his new name's going to be something like General Izar or something like that. It's going to be General, as you can tell, but it's Jacob. He's going to be the heavy for Apollo, and I get it because it'll be a bit. Apollo with this new gimmick as a championship, I'll be able to put it off. I think a little better than he did last time when it was a face. Because it was that smiley face and was just being the American, I'm Apollo Crews. I'm boring, but I think this at least is going to give him something more and more eyes on him and more attention and more chance to build it. And then we'll have Big E as the face chasing the title.
Chasing to get the title back.
Mm-hmm.
See when you've mentioned the General coming in, I don't know why, but it's kind of gave me a wee, maybe no a premonition. It's maybe kind of deja vu more than anything else. But it's making me think Mark Henry and Conor Mustafa, was that his name? Nation of Domination.
Well, that's what the New Day was originally meant to be. So they've been talking about bringing the Nation of Domination back for a while now. So maybe who we could maybe get Hinged. Maybe that'll be Keith Lee something today, because Keith Lee's sort of kind of lost favour with Keith Lee. But then they were two heavies, so it wouldn't really make sense.
No, two heavies. This big guy being the big black war criminal.
Mm-hmm. Apollo being the king.
Apollo being the king, the General being his right hand man. Keith Lee could be the, if we're talking biker hierarchy like Sons of Anarchy, would it? Keith Lee being the Sergeant at Arms to the Colonel.
Mm-hmm.
We would need some wee mouthpiece to come in.
Cedric Alexander, because his work with the Hurt Business there was amazing, and it's been a shame that they've been broken up, and I heard the day that they meant to Vince McMahon's lost favour, like it does a lot. Vince McMahon's meant to have lost favour on Cedric and Shelton Benjamin. That's why they're now like at the bottom totem pole again. So maybe that'll give them something today. We can only hope. Next up is the women's match. This is Rhea Ripley versus Asuka. This has been Rhea Ripley finally won. Thank fuck she beat Asuka.
If I remember rightly, my prediction was that Asuka would win this one.
I can't remember what you said. I think so. And that's what you said. Should have rewatched the predictions from me.
Probably. But I would totally agree that Rhea Ripley well deserved.
Aye. And
so it was definitely she was the better performer.
Did you watch her intro? Did you watch her intro? How she comes into the ramp? Did you watch her intro? Oh my goodness gracious me! Like so, the week, the night before, AJ with the Bad Bunny and the Miz and Morrison. Miz and Morrison come into the ring, lip syncing to their old song, to their new song. They brought it to flag off because that's the thing with rappers. They brought this song out.
Oh no, wait, was it no some fucking woman singing?
Aye, it was a woman for a band called New Year's Day. I quite like the band New Year's Day. Miz and Morrison lip synced, and I slagged them off saying they were like the Spice Girls on Twitter. And then I watched Night 2 and watched Ash Costello, who is a famous singer and a legit band who is actually good, who is quite an alright metal band. As I say, I don't mind them. I've listened to them since the first album. Actually, didn't mind them when they first came out. She was really, really bad when the mic did pick her up. She was, oh my God, she was terrible. And then she was lip syncing. Like she was no lip syncing because like the song playing and her singing at the same time, and she was trying to keep up with the song playing behind her. It was worse than Lemmy doing the intro for the game. Like it was really bad, really bad. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was excited when they announced that Ash Costello was going to play. I was like, yes, a bit of metal at WrestleMania. Great, NXT's taking over. Oh, it was terrible.
The good old days when it was metal performances at WrestleMania, like Motorhead down and pulling Survivor.
Aye, but no, thank you. Like, fair enough. There was a rap, Big E. The match before that, Big E got introduction for some rapper, and that was bad because it was some shitty rapper.
Oh, mate,
but at least he sang.
At least he sang some of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was other bits where he was lip syncing because, mate, I'm not even going to lie. I was sitting here thinking I fucking dreamt that there and didn't want to say anything in case it was talking horse shit.
Oh, it was
but
so
that guy doing Big E's intro, like the amount of you could see words still quite clearly getting said out of the fucking speakers, but this kid's Mike's hearing he's talking to Big E. Oh, I'm supposed to be singing here, man. Keep up. Oh, what were you saying?
Ash Costello's done the same thing. She hugged Rhea Ripley while she was meant to be singing "This Is My Brutality." It was so bad. It was really, really, really bad. But the match was good. The match was really good, and Rhea Ripley.
The match was definitely. I actually really liked that match. I thought, like I said, I thought Asuka was going to do it. Was going to keep a hold of that title there, but
it made me a sense storyline wise for Asuka to drop it because she's had it for almost a year now. Money in the Bank, she got to just do night after Money in the Bank, and she's kind of starting to go stagnant with it. So it made me a sense to get to Rhea. I knew it opens up an after storyline, which is going to be her v. I think it's going to set up a triple threat with her, Asuka, and Charlotte. Unfortunately, so I'm hoping now that means like Rhea then gets to destroy Charlotte Flair and get the win she was meant to get last year. And as I say, when she came on to NXT, the NXT crowd loved her again. It was amazing and good moment in NXT. And I'm looking forward. It's one of the only things I look forward to on Monday nights is to see her because she's quite an interesting character. No, that way. She's an interesting character. But last match here is the triple threat match: Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan. I was upset with the win.
Also, the only match to make it over 20 minutes.
Aye, and it could have went longer.
Actually, the only match to make it over 15 minutes on night two.
Mm-hmm. Right, longest match night two. Longest match in the week, the 2 nights.
Longest match both nights. Only match over 15 minutes, night two. I was disappointed in the outcome.
The outcome isn't great, but I get it. I understand it. I'll probably like it even more come Friday night when I get to see him and Paul Heyman cutting a really, really good promo. And the fact that Edge technically pinned Daniel Bryan.
Aye.
But the concerto shots, like, I couldn't watch it. Daniel Bryan got a concerto shot and I done that. Then Jay also come in and grabbed the chair and done the concerto to Edge. And again, at that time I didn't even look through my eye. I looked completely. I done that to look away from the screen. I couldn't force it because all I could see was their careers. In fact, these guys have got broken necks and concussion issues. And fair enough, watching the concerto show, you can see quite clearly on the hitting each other. But there's still going to be a bit of impact, and there's still a chance for risk. There's still that risk of that chair they could still fucking miss and still make mistakes.
There's still the risks involved and stuff as well, but stuff that folk will know hinky with the concerto is the fact that the biggest impact on that is metal on metal.
So why? So it's
Your
not a
head's in the
vibration.
middle of that. It's metal here, so they vibrations next to your lugs. There's a possibility for burst eardrums and everything there.
Aye.
That move would be more disorientating than painful.
And
So
these guys who have
I'm not
both,
denying. I'm not denying. I've never endured a concerto myself, but that's my understanding of it, as it would be more disorientating than
these guys who have got
painful.
broken necks.
Not denying it would be painful. Wouldn't it be painful?
Are you
These
saying
guys have broken necks. That was got to be
vibration?
my next point was Roman Reigns, the big bad head of the table, squashed two guys that have in fact both retired because of neck injuries. They fought their way back, but he still squashed these two guys that have both retired at one point or another because of neck injuries. Fought their way back.
I wouldn't say squash, and technically he retired through leukemia. But he
right, but
so technically all three of these men have retired. And that aspect, all three of these men have retired, and all three of these men gave up their career.
All three of these men did give up their career, but the two that he is just beat were both because of neck injuries. That's the point I'm getting at.
Right, aye. But I wouldn't say
he broke his neck twice before they forced him to retire. He went through spinal fusion treatment twice.
But I wouldn't say it was a squash. Like, it wasn't a squash match. It wasn't like Daniel Bryan. It wasn't like when Daniel Bryan fought Sheamus.
Aye, it wasn't a squash, but the tail end of the match was.
No, really, because it was technically jail. So
that fucking moment where he put Edge on top of Daniel Bryan, then pinned the two of them, was him squashing them.
Aye, but I think it's going to lead to a better story coming down the line.
I think it's got to lead to another triple threat.
No,
violent one.
I think it can lead to a singles match between Roman and Edge, because they can use the fact that Daniel Bryan got pinned. Edge pinned Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan was the one, but they come out and said, I think it was the what's his face, the guy who's now the new GM guy on the things. He's made, I think it was him that's come out and said something about the both Edge's and Daniel Bryan's shoulders.
Both shoulders on the ground
were on the mat, so it's a double pin. So that's the way I run it. I think I'm almost. As I've heard that somebody's thoughts into the thing, but I think I've heard that's been somebody's come out and said that.
I would agree with that. That both sets of shoulders were down, but I would go on the grounds of Edge's legs were covering Daniel Bryan.
No, Edge was covering Daniel Bryan. No matter what, Edge was covering Daniel Bryan.
You can class that as well. Edge pinned you, but he pinned Roman Reigns pinned Edge at the same time. They could say that you couldn't say that is technically three pins on the go at once.
Right.
With two of them being on Daniel Bryan and one of them being on Edge. Edge isn't aware that he was flung there. Edge wasn't aware that he was in fact the wet tracky in the whole situation.
If he kicked out, then he'd have kicked out his pinfall on Daniel Bryan. But no, so that's WrestleMania 37. This is probably going to be a long podcast. It's probably going to be, I'm looking at the time compared to when we started recording again, didn't set a timer, it would never be. So this is going to be a long one. Probably longer. This podcast will be longer than WrestleMania. Since the match is running long enough.
See, well, nah, man, I reckon we've probably only been recording a bit now.
Aye, no, still longer than half of WrestleMania. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Comment down below, let us know your thoughts on this year's WrestleMania. Let us your favourite match. Let us know all that. and if you agree in what we thought about. If you disagree, let us know. Also, check out our respected YouTube's channels and Twitters and stuff. Links and all that in the description. Remember to hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button, and we'll be live every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So don't forget to tune back in next Wednesday at 7. Thanks for joining me and Raymond, and we'll catch you next week.
Aye, what he said.